Hi, I'm Johnny, and this is Off the Beaten Trail, and today I'm taking you to the Borden Trailhead in Lawrence County, Alabama, within Bankhead National Forest. Okay, so I did an informational video on Bankhead National Forest, and I suggest that you go back and watch it before you watch this one. I'm going to leave that in the description below. I give a lot of information about what you can expect in Bankhead. During the time period of the year that I went, there were blackberries right at the parking lot, which was a major treat. Right off the edge of the parking lot, you can just go and pick as many blackberries as you want, which is a great fuel for the start of your hike and an added benefit. So the Borden Trailhead was a very beautiful trail, and it was very fun to hike. I definitely recommend it for people that have families and that cannot hike very rough terrain. However, the trail was very confusing because there were a lot of trails that intermingled, and it was very confusing to tell if you were on the right trail or not. This trail is a part of the Sipsey Wilderness area, which has an acreage of over 24,922 acres, and that is a very large trail system. All of these trails intermingle and intertwine, so it can be very easy to lose your way, so make sure that you have a good navigator with you. Because this trail system is so long, it's very easy to get lost, and you can also hike and camp overnight. So if I were hiking this area, I would plan for overnight hikes, but I did a short hike, and I'm going to show you more of that. Online, I was a little bit confused when it came to the information given. The only thing I really found on the Borden Trailhead online was the Google Maps search that brought me to the location of the trailhead, and there is a lot of information at the trailhead that you can read when you pull into the parking area. However, because of the limited information that was available online, I was confused and I didn't spend very much time in that area itself. I assumed based off of the information online that I was just going to hike a 4-mile hike to a waterfall. But then I began to read some reviews, and somebody had talked about how the trail was extremely long, and then I began to look on the maps, and it looked like the trail ran into other trails that did not end and looped for miles and miles, longer than 4 miles, which I originally thought the trail was. Because of that, I began to become concerned about the length that it would take for me to traverse this entire area, so I decided that I was going to only be there for a few hours and then turn back, and I think that was the best decision based off of the amount of trails that were available. It would have been very easy to get lost, and had I not kept track of the trails that I was on, I would not have been able to find my way back to my vehicle. Regardless of not knowing what to expect whenever I arrived at this trailhead, it was well worth it, and I was really excited to be able to be in that area, and I found a lot of interesting things. However, if you do want to come to this area, all you have to do to find this trailhead is type in the Borden Trailhead in Bankhead National Forest, Alabama, within Lawrence County, and it should take you right to that area. In order to get there, you are going to have to go off of the main highway onto a dirt road, and that dirt road can be a little unsettling and pretty long, but you are on the right road, and it should give you the exact directions. So after hiking for a good period, I came to this bridge where the trails began to split in multiple directions again. However, once I came across the bridge, it gave me kind of like an apocalyptic vibe, almost as if we were in a post-apocalyptic world and there was a remnant from the world that had existed previous. It was actually very cool. So I have no idea whether or not I was on the right trail, but what I did know is that I hiked alongside the creek for a very long amount. There were trails on both sides of the creek, and at points I would dart back and forth into the creek. One thing that I did notice throughout this area were horse tracks throughout this trail system. So I know that horses are permitted in this area, but I did not know whether or not you can park your horse trailer within the parking at the Borden Trailhead. What I do know is that this area circulates with a lot of different trails, and there are horse trails throughout this entire system. So if you do come with horses, make sure that you plan to be on the right trails with your trailer so that way you don't get towed. As I said before, the Borden Trailhead is located in Lawrence County, Alabama. Lawrence County has a population of about 33,000. Its largest city is Moulton with a population of about 3,000. Moulton has a few places to stay and eat, and it is about 35 minutes north of the Borden Trailhead by car. The Borden Trailhead is about 1 hour and 45 minutes east of Tupelo and 1 hour and 35 minutes northwest of Birmingham by car. Okay, so I'm about to show you more of the Borden Trailhead, but before I do that, make sure to hit that subscribe button so that way I can take you to a new location each week. One thing that I'm always out on the lookout for is waterfalls when I am hiking. I have supersonic ears that I can hear waterfalls for miles away. I'm very good at telling where a waterfall is, even if it's deep within the brush, and I make any effort I can to get to it. In the pictures along this creek, I had seen multiple different waterfalls, so I was not going home unless I found one. So of course I came across the first waterfall and made all of my efforts to get to the area where I could see it. After I had viewed the small little waterfall, I returned to the creek to hike alongside the creek as I was previously doing. Once I did, I began to hear another waterfall, and I was extremely excited, and I made all of the efforts to find the next waterfall. Yes, these waterfalls are not very large, but they are an added benefit to my hike. In general, I think that this hike is good without the waterfalls. I enjoyed the creek, and it was fun wading throughout the water. But with these little waterfalls to add a little bit of scenery, it really made the hike a little bit more magical. Okay, well that's all for the Borden Trailhead. If you enjoyed this video, let me know what you thought about it in the comments, and make sure to like and share. And I will see you next week when I take you to the Sipsey River Trailhead, Fall Creek Falls, and that is on the Winston and Lawrence County borders within Bankhead National Forest.